President Biden is expected in Israel tomorrow as he will visit the Middle East. It will serve two purposes, showing support, U.S. support as a ground invasion into Gaza looms, and also encouraging leaders in the region to help ease civilian suffering in Gaza. Joining me now to talk more about the war, Daniel Illouz, member of the Knesset, Israel's parliament, which opened its latest session yesterday as a barrage of rockets flew overhead. Thank you for your time. I know you're very busy. As we expect President Biden to be visiting the Middle East and Israel in the next 24 hours, what do you anticipate will be happening during his visit?
First of all, we're very grateful for American support. I want to send my thanks to all Americans cross party lines. It's something that we feel very, very strongly here in Israel, and we're grateful for that support. The visit is part of this support, which we've seen, including some military elements that have been brought closer to the border, not in order to necessarily involve America in this war. Israel is a strong nation. We can definitely defend ourselves on our own. But in order to give a clear message to other elements that might want to join this unfortunate war, that they shouldn't. As President Biden said, just simply don't. If they do, then we are thankful for the fact that America has made a clear message that we will have American support.
The airstrikes continue, but we are still waiting for the ground invasion that we anticipate will still happen. Will that be pushed back due to the president's visit?
I'm not sure that the timing was supposed to be in the next 24 hours. Israel is taking its time because when we do go in, we'll need to do the job well. And I just want to remind your viewers, I mean, I know most people have already heard or seen the images on social media, but what we faced 10, 11 days ago was a regime that was one of the most evil regimes that we've seen in history. It's the likes of ISIS or even the Nazis, babies burnt alive, women raped, old people, elderly people that were abducted without their medication and brought into Gaza and still held over there against any norm of international law. And so we have no choice now but to go into Gaza and to defeat this horrible enemy and to just eliminate the Hamas element that there is in Gaza right now. We have nothing against civilians, but when it comes to Hamas as a regime, we have to make sure that it just doesn't exist anymore. This is an evil ideology that needs to be eradicated from this earth. And so we're taking our time in order to train properly, to make sure we're ready. We're starting with airstrikes. And when we go in, we'll get the job done because we're a strong nation. We were attacked by surprise, but we're a strong nation with a strong army. And I hope that the world will stay by our side and remember how just this war is. Also, when we respond to these evil actions, because it's easy to be on the side of a victim when it's being attacked. But when it defends itself, people need to realize that this is this is a war between civilizations. It's not just Israel that's on the line. It's all of our Western civilization that is currently being attacked by this horrible regime that represents everything that's the opposite of what we stand for: freedom, democracy, and all of those incredible values. And so when Israel will defend itself, it will defend our whole civilization.
And as you speak with your colleagues in the Knesset, what is the message to Lebanon and Iran amidst this conflict?
If Lebanon and Iran joins the conflict, we'll be ready for that. They attacked us by surprise in Gaza. There's no use in denying it. They caught us by surprise, but now we're ready. We're ready for anything else that might come. We're not interested in broadening the conflict. That's not in our interest. But if they make the mistake of joining the conflict, then we'll make sure that they'll regret this mistake. I want to make it clear that the same ideology that there is in Gaza that I just described, this evil ideology, is the exact same ideology that Hezbollah has and that also the Islamic regime of Iran has. It's the same exact ideology. And the only difference between them and the Nazis is the ability to make this ideology a reality. And so we as Israel cannot allow any leeway. If they join this fight, then we'll make sure that they'll regret the day that they joined this fight. Again, not because we like fighting. We don't like fighting. Everyone in Israel is a soldier. I myself, before I was a member of Knesset, was serving in the reserves, and I would probably also, if I wasn't a member of Knesset, would have been drafted right now in order to be as part of this war. But and so I understand, and we all understand the cost of war. We don't like war. We want to avoid war as much as possible. But when we see this face of evil in such a clear way, we have no other choice but to defend our civilization, to defend our country, and to defend our people. And so that's what we'll do.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.